Hello from Instagram HQ in Menlo Park, California, and welcome to today's webinar about updates and learnings and best practices for performance marketing on Instagram, part of the Facebook and Instagram webinar series. Thanks so much for joining us. My name is Timo Pelz. I'm on the product marketing communications team at Instagram, and I'm joined by Megan Bristol, who is responsible for product marketing of Instagram's direct response ad solution. Together with Megan, I will take you through today's content. Today's topics are drawn from your questions and feedback on previous Instagram webinars. If you aren't familiar with the basics of direct response on Instagram, we recommend you check out March's webinar called Performance Marketing on Instagram first, since we won't be covering basics during this session. So let's take a look at the topics we will be covering during today's webinar. We'll start by walking you through some important learnings about the part of the Instagram community that you care about most, shoppers. Next, we will talk about how you, businesses, fit into Instagram and our evolving value proposition for you. And after that, we will cover how we connect community behavior to advertiser value by walking you through the most recent product updates. Finally, and most importantly, we'll dive into learnings and recommendations around three key areas. We'll start with delivery and scale. We have learned that targeting and bidding are key components of the success of a campaign on Instagram. Next, we'll look at optimizations around pixel placement. As ads on Instagram are mobile only, it is crucial to optimize accordingly, and we will show you how. We'll then cover making informed decisions. Specifically, we'll provide guidance on attribution and reporting of your Instagram campaigns. After this, we'll address creative. In particular, we'll look at creative best practices and focus on some tips that can help you optimize your ads for maximum delivery and performance. That should all take about 40 minutes, after which we'll open up for question and answer. As questions come to mind throughout the webinar, please feel free to enter them in the questions window within your webinar control panel. We'll compile your top questions throughout the session and cover them at the end. In order to organize and address the most frequently asked topics, we won't take any new questions once we start Q&A. So please get them in as they come to mind. We've also included a handout to accompany today's content. You can find it within the handout menu in your webinar control panel. This handout covers a number of today's topics in more detail. You can download them anytime during our session. And as you exit the webinar, we've got a brief survey we'd love for you to fill out. It will help us continue to improve these sessions. And finally, we'll follow up with a video recording of this webinar within the next 2 days in case you'd like to review again. All past Facebook and Instagram webinars are available on demand anytime at Blueprint, Facebook's e-learning platform. You can visit Blueprint at facebook.com/blueprint. There, you'll find our Introduction to Performance Marketing on Instagram webinar, among many others, under the webinar section. And today's session will be available on demand on Blueprint within 48 hours. So now let's get started. Instagram's mission is to help people capture and share the world's moment. And that focus has resonated with consumers. We recently announced that our community has grown to more than 500 million Instagrammers, more than 300 million of whom use Instagram every single day. Only a handful of apps have reached these levels. Our community also continues to become more global, with more than 80% living outside of the United States. It's exciting to be growing this fast. Instagram added the last 100 million faster than the previous 100 million. And the Instagram community has more than doubled over the past 2 years, and the US now has more than 100 million monthly actives. According to eMarketer, Instagram is the fastest growing social network in the US. And their projections over the next 5 years show Instagram growing our leadership aggressively. While not all current social platforms were included in the study, their projections are below those of Instagram. Put this into the context of other social platforms you might be considering in your marketing mix. Instagram is growing at a much faster rate than Twitter and Pinterest. And with Instagram, you now have more opportunity to reach customers on mobile. In fact, people spend more time on our platform on mobile than they do on Snapchat, Twitter, Pinterest, Yahoo, or Pandora. Instagram is a mobile leader. It is where customers are spending a lot of time discovering new products, services, and apps, and it should be an integral part of your media mix. We have learned a lot about the Instagram community in the past months. Turns out that shoppers, people actively looking for and converting around products, services, or apps online, are not only an integral part of the ever-growing Instagram community, They are also among the most active users of Instagram. We took a closer look at the way people that shop online use Instagram. We learned that they visit Instagram 6 of 7 days of the week, 10 times during a single day, and they consume twice as much content than non-shoppers. Shoppers are primarily 25 to 34 years old and primarily female, and 76% of them use an iOS device to access Instagram. Instagram is not only a place where shoppers are very active, it is also a place for businesses who have always been part of the Instagram community. Businesses have always used Instagram to connect to people, and people have always been very receptive to businesses being on Instagram. Nearly half of the Instagram community follow a business. People are regularly inspired by businesses in the community. 60% of people learn about products and services on Instagram. And 75% of those people go even further by taking action after being inspired by a post. Taking action can take many forms in this context. It can mean visiting a website for more information, searching for something specific that has been seen in a post, shopping or making a purchase, or telling a friend about a post. This underlines two things. It shows the high intent that people show after being inspired on Instagram, and the fact that they move from inspiration to action drives advertiser value. To sum up, this is why you should care about our performance marketing solution. Shoppers are active on Instagram. It is the place where inspiration naturally leads to action and where high intent leads to value. And to show you a little bit about how that works in action, I will pass it over to Megan now.
Great. Good morning, everyone. So what does this look like in action? Overall, we have seen advertisers successfully use Instagram to achieve direct response objectives. In order to better qualify this success, we recently ran a number of lift studies across campaigns, and the results shed light on the effectiveness of Instagram across DR objectives. 70% of campaigns saw a lift in individuals who took action. 78% of mobile app install campaigns saw a lift in installs, and 58% of website conversion campaigns saw a lift in online sales. To put these results into context, these closely mirror Facebook mobile feed results. When we first introduced direct response advertising on Instagram, we did so because we saw the community taking action. As we enhance our suite of solutions, we continue to leverage that mindset. In doing so, we focus our efforts on 3 key areas: generating even more high-intent clicks, driving more conversions, and increasing attribution, especially on mobile. What this means is that we are really committed to optimizing direct response advertising for maximum impact on Instagram. With that framework in mind, we recently introduced a number of product enhancements, which we want to walk you through next. First, we updated the call to action on Instagram link ads. Since launching performance marketing on Instagram, we have paid really close attention to how the community has responded and interacted with our ads. While it might seem counterintuitive, as ads have increased, the community response has actually improved. And that is because we have enabled targeting and optimization tools to help partners effectively reach the right audience, increasing relevancy on the platform. Since driving off-site is not an organic capability on Instagram, we recently conducted an eye tracking study to understand how the community engaged with link ads. We discovered that most people scan the left-hand side of an ad. And as you can see, our first link ad had the call to action button on the lower right-hand side. In June, we optimized the experience and now display the call to action button across the bottom of the entire image, displaying the call to action on the left-hand side. To remind everyone, there are 2 ways to drive off site from a link ad on Instagram. A person can click on the call to action button and be taken directly to the ad's destination. Alternatively, they can single tap on the image. When they do, the call to action button will highlight blue. When they tap on that highlighted button, they will be taken to the ad's destination. We made this design change to confirm a person's intent to drive off site, since again, that isn't an organic capability. People come to Instagram with an open mindset for discovery. We have seen that part of that discovery process can include learning more about the business or service advertising from their Instagram profile page before clicking off site. While many advertisers include a shortened URL in their profile description box, that link might not necessarily correspond to the content displayed in the feed ad, and that's not an optimal user experience. To simplify and enhance the experience, we now extend the call to action button from an ad to an advertiser's profile page when a person clicks to the profile icon of an ad, in the upper left-hand corner of a link ad. It's important to clarify, the CTA button in profile will not appear at all times. It will only appear if a person clicks into your profile from a feed link ad. These two format changes reflect our commitment to optimize the direct response experience for the Instagram community. We recently launched dynamic ads on Instagram to help promote relevant products to shoppers who've browsed your website or mobile app. They offer 3 key benefits. They are highly relevant because they show people ads for products they're interested in order to increase their likelihood to purchase. They are a scaled solution because they promote all of your products on Instagram without having to configure individual ads. You can also easily extend your dynamic ads to Facebook and the Audience Network for additional reach. And they are always on. You set up your campaigns once and continually reach people with the right product where they spend time on mobile. Dynamic ads on Instagram work just like they do on Facebook. In terms of targeting, you can reach people who have viewed, added to cart, or purchased products on your website or mobile app using Facebook custom audiences. And for creative, you can reach those shoppers with dynamically generated ads showing products they may be interested in by uploading your product catalog to Instagram via Facebook. Please note that there is a minimum resolution requirement of 600 by 600 pixels for my dynamic ads on Instagram. Following their launch on Facebook, we recently launched dynamic ads for travel on Instagram as well. They work just like regular dynamic ads, but are better suited for use in a travel context. These ads help you promote relevant hotel offers to travelers who have browsed your website or mobile app. You can learn more about dynamic ads and their setup in the handouts that accompany this webinar. In order to simplify reporting, we now closely mirror Facebook's click definition for website conversions ads and include profile tap as an attributable event in our click reporting. We also ported in in-app browser changes from Facebook for Android, and this allows us to leverage all of the performance improvements Facebook has made, which has helped reduce load times and improve conversion rates. We are hoping to see similar gains on Instagram. And finally, we recently rolled out a new option to deliver ads based on a longer conversion window across Facebook and Instagram. The new option will focus on a longer post-clip conversion window of 7 days when delivering ads. If you're interested in driving higher consideration conversions, that is, conversion events that often take longer than 1 day post-click to happen, this new option can help improve average cost per conversion for the same budget, or for cases where you may be seeing limited delivery today, drive more total delivery and conversion volume.
Now, let's turn to some learnings and best practices that will help you get the most out of your performance marketing campaigns on Instagram. Our recommendations for maximizing performance are structured around 3 pillars: targeting and bidding, pixel placement, and attribution and reporting. We have seen Instagram drive strong delivery and scale for advertising partners, but over the last 9 months, we have learned that the best practices for doing so can be unique to the platform at this time. Instagram has over 500 million monthly active people and continues to grow quickly. However, Instagram's community is smaller than Facebook, and consumer consumption patterns differ across mobile digital platforms. Over time, we expect our practices and delivery to align with Facebook as our system matures. That being said, sophisticated direct response advertisers on Facebook have spent years creating complex targeting schemas to optimize their performance. If they apply the same targeting to Instagram, we recommend they check their estimated audience and delivery size to get a sense for the scale they can expect. Instagram's total audience is smaller than Facebook's. Therefore, extremely narrow targeting can result in low delivery. Low delivery is not inherently bad if the campaign is driving optimal value. If you're bidding your true value with a complex targeting structure and want to increase scale, you need to be willing to either increase your bid, broaden your targeting parameters, or potentially loosen your KPI. For example, if you're seeing strong lifetime value from females 25 to 30 years old, you should be willing to bid higher to reach more of them because their value is higher. We recently did an analysis of performance marketing campaigns that were able to drive scale or a large number of outcomes and spent the majority of their budgets. Across these campaigns, we saw advertisers initially start with broad targeting and refine over time as they learned which audiences were converting. For example, consider starting with a 5 or 10% lookalike audience and narrow down to 1% as the system learns to deliver the outcomes you care about. And finally, and most importantly, If your goal is to drive actions on your website, whether that's learning more, generating leads, or driving sales, bidding using the website conversion objective rather than website clicks is especially important on Instagram. And that's due to the way people take action on Instagram ads. Although Instagram is mobile only, we know people shop and convert across a variety of devices. If you bid using website clicks on Instagram, we are only able to deliver ads to people likely to click on mobile. The delivery algorithm cannot use the higher intent value associated with clicks on Instagram to optimize. However, by implementing the Facebook Pixel and bidding for website conversions, we're able to deliver ads to people who may convert on mobile or desktop.
Many advertisers continue to report that their customers still predominantly purchase on desktop, but they know mobile is playing a critical role in the path to conversion, and this has unique implications for delivery on our platform. While we are able to effectively measure across devices, due to our backend integration with Facebook, our delivery algorithm needs at least 15 one-day click-through conversions on a particular event to effectively optimize for delivery. If you are optimizing for a downstream conversion event with very few conversion signals, we recommend optimizing for an event higher up in the funnel to help our algorithm understand who to deliver to. You can find more information about Pixel implementation and usage in our webinar handout. In today's world, people may learn about a product on one device, research it on another, and ultimately transact elsewhere. And when we look at reporting across both Facebook and Instagram campaigns, we've seen that borne out. Therefore, the Facebook Pixel is especially critical for partners trying to drive actions on their website. That's because the Facebook Pixel will give them visibility into how your target audience responds to Instagram ads across the devices they use to shop and convert. This is the same best practice as Facebook. However, it's particularly critical for Instagram for 3 reasons. First, Instagram ads are mobile only, so visibility into conversions on other devices is critical. Second, Instagram's unique ad experience drives advertiser value by confirming a user's intent to drive off-site. As a result, Instagram benefits from a strong post-click conversion rate. And third, Instagram has over 500 million monthly active people and continues to grow quickly, but it is smaller than Facebook. As a result, Instagram audience does not mirror the general population as closely as Facebook. Therefore, the distribution of delivered ad impressions may differ across platforms. Since our best practice is to initially leverage broad targeting, you may see differences in return on ad spend or lifetime value between Instagram, Facebook, and other channels. If you do, we recommend you to take a look at characteristics like age, gender, and device type in your Instagram ad reports to understand the driver of those differences. Also, we recommend that you evaluate total conversion value over total amount spent to account for pricing difference between the platform. These are our latest best practices. Please keep in mind that these are not prescriptive. Use them as a reference for testing and new campaigns. If you are already seeing success on Instagram, there's no reason to change what you're doing. We will share a best practice reference sheet with the key best practices by objective later in the webinar. You can also download the sheet together with the webinar handout. For now, let's move on to creative.
We know that creative is a topic that is top of mind for many advertisers. We have learned that good creative is good creative, and that general best practices for direct response creative translate from Facebook. Custom creative is not a requirement for success on Instagram. The Facebook Creative Shop team has come up with a few executional tips which we want to point out today as a way to strategically approach creative. Again, these tips are not prescriptive, but meant to help you guide you as you experiment, test, learn, and optimize. First, stop people as they scroll through their feed by creating a single focal point in your ad. Ensure that you're only asking people to look at one thing. If you're trying to include too many things in one image, consider carousel or video ads. Make sure that there is not too much going on in the photo. And create visual consistency among your ads by making sure that all of your ads within a campaign tie together visually. This will help people to more easily recognize your ad and stop to see what else you have to say. This is also true for all images in a carousel ad. They should feel like they are meant to be together. And build for mobile by designing your ad assuming that it will be viewed on a mobile phone. Think about the size of each element in your image or video and take a look at it on your phone before running the ad. For example, don't use small graphics that are hard to make out on a phone. And consider creating video content that can be cropped to a 1:1 aspect ratio, as it takes up more real estate in feed and has more stopping power than the traditional 16:9 video format. Second, connect with people when they look at your ad. we've learned that branding is a really important factor to connect with people and help them remember your ad. And by branding, we don't mean to just paste your logo on top of your image, but rather have elements of your brand, such as your logo, your storefront, your products in the image in a natural way, or in an authentic way. For example, Starbucks often just puts their signature green straw in their images and doesn't need the logo because that green straw is tied to their brand in people's minds. And in the example shown here, the branding is a natural part of the image. And try using your brand's unique voice. Your voice can be a reflection of your business or your own personality. Is it funny, all business, straight talk? The more authentic you are, the more effective your ad will be. Be yourself and be consistent. And lastly, use short copy. The copy should communicate what you want your audience to take away in a concise manner. Write your copy and then try rewriting it with fewer words to get the point across faster. And finally, inspire them to act on your ad. Tell them what's in it for them so they'll take the desired action. And provide informational reward and product focus. Make sure the ad highlights interesting information about the product or service that increases noticeability. This can be a deal, a new brand in the portfolio, a limited time offer, or an interesting product feature. The messaging of the most successful ads inform consumers on what they needed to know. Who is this advertiser? What's their value proposition? And how can they learn more or even purchase this product? We further recommend to make sure that your call to action aligns to the funnel stage of the audience you are targeting. While Shop Now might work well for bottom funnel or retargeting audiences, a Learn More might be better suited for mid-funnel or prospecting audiences. And if what you're trying to show is too complex for a single image, try a carousel, or better yet, use video. Overall, we have seen that custom creative is not required for Instagram. We recently worked with Metrics Lab to compare creative originally developed for Instagram to creative originally developed for Facebook. They asked a group of 2,400 Instagram users to rate a series of ads shown in the Instagram feed. Based on user ratings, they found no significant difference in the performance of ads developed specifically for Instagram versus those originally developed for Facebook across the following dimensions: stated intent and impact, memory and recall, likability, and relevance. In other words, custom creative is not a requirement for running on Instagram. If you have strong performing creative from other channels, try running it. All in all, we found that the best performing campaigns clearly kept their objectives and brand in mind when developing creative. Now, before we recap and move on to Q&A, let's look at some recent advertiser success stories. A brand that has been seeing success on Instagram is Birdroll Beach Britches. The company was one of the first advertisers to use Instagram's new dynamic ads product in partnership with AdMixed. After visiting birdroll.com, users were served a Birdroll carousel ad in their Instagram feed featuring multiple related images and products from what they had viewed on the site. By showcasing the right product to the right person at the right time, Birdroll increased reach to its target audience by 18% and saw a 10% increase in attributable revenue. Based on those results, Birdroll plans on incorporating dynamic ads across Facebook and Instagram as an always-on component of their marketing plan. And 2 transportation apps have successfully leveraged Instagram to acquire new users. One app saw 38% more signups from website conversions and 27% more efficient website conversions after including Instagram in their Facebook advertising campaigns. And rather than using creative specifically designed for Instagram, the advertiser leveraged a creative that had been performing well on Facebook. A second advertiser is running ads on Instagram only, with a broad targeting approach and bidding for website conversions. In doing so, they are seeing results that are competitive with search. Before we start Q&A, let's recap what we have shared today. We gave you an update on performance marketing on Instagram. Shoppers are active on Instagram. 60% of people learn about products and services on Instagram. And 75% of people take action after being inspired by a post. Furthermore, businesses are and always have been a natural part of the community. We talked about the high intent that people show when they click on Instagram ads and how we are driving more performance through product enhancements. And finally, we introduced the latest best practices for getting the most out of your performance campaigns and shared the latest creative best practices for driving action. As mentioned before, we have created a handy overview with the best practices as a reference. This is by no means 100% prescriptive. We recommend to use it as a starting point when planning a campaign. If you have developed individual best practices for your own, please stick with those. You can download this sheet along with various other resources as part of the handout for this webinar. The key resource is the webinar handout, a one-page document with links to many of the resources we've mentioned throughout this webinar. We've organized it by topic, making it easy for you to navigate. Additionally, we've included links to information about the Facebook Pixel, cross-device reports, and optimized delivery for website conversions. So please take the time to download the handout before our session wraps today. And this webinar will be available on demand within 48 hours, along with all other previous webinars. And with that being said, let's now move on to Q&A. We've been busy looking at your questions, and we will address them in the right order now. So the first question that we've seen is we stated that the CTA button is now extended to a profile from an ad. Is that going to be reflected in ads reporting in clicks?
Yep, that's a great question. This ad, as we extend the CTA into the profile, and if a person taps on that, that will be counted as a link click and charged as a link click in Facebook's ads reporting.
Great. The second question is about business pages, or generally the business services that Instagram has recently introduced. Any update on when these will be rolled out to 100%?
Sure. So right now, this week we just rolled out to 100% to Australia, New Zealand, and the United States. And we'll be continuing to roll out over the next several months. We don't have exact timelines on the remaining countries, but we can confidently confirm Australia, New Zealand, and the US.
Great. And now there's a question about the way people interact with link ads. We've spent some time talking about changes we've made in that context. And this is a good question. What happens when people double tap a link ad? As a reminder, we said that a single tap will highlight the call to action button. What happens with a double tap?
Yeah, this behavior, again, we try to mirror the organic activity as much as possible. So the thought process was when you single tap an image, on an organic post, you see a user tag, or for a video, it enables sound. And we had that same philosophy with a double tap. For organic content, it likes the content. And we apply the same principle for ads as well. If you double tap it, it likes the ad.
Staying in the context of call to actions and links, the link that is going to pop up in a profile when people click through from an ad, will that contain the same URL tracking parameters as the original ad?
Yep, that will contain the same URL and UTM tags that come from the original ad.
Moving on to a question about dynamic ads that we recently introduced on Instagram. Are these just for shopping? I think we need to clarify what we mean by shopping in this context.
Yeah. So dynamic ads, we have two types available on Instagram. We have dynamic ad for products. So if you have a product feed, you can leverage it. And we also have dynamic ads for travel. So it's not just in the shopping context per se, but you do need a product feed in order to make those ads work for you.
Okay, going back to business presences on Instagram. Does an Instagram business still need to link to a Facebook page to create an Instagram page?
Yeah, great question. So that is actually not a requirement. It hasn't been for quite some time. You can have the ability to run an ads without having... I'm sorry, I misunderstood the question. It's not an Instagram page. You do always have to have some Facebook page in order to run an ad. Yep. You don't actually necessarily have to have an Instagram profile, though, to run an ad. That's the distinction.
And with the new 7-day conversion window, what is the recommended number of conversions over 7 days? Because we said that we recommend 15 conversions in a 1-day time frame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so in testing this new option for the first time, we really recommend first ensuring ad sets are set up to capture at least 15 to 25 conversions per week. We've seen that ad sets capturing fewer than that may be likely to see fluctuations in delivery and average cost. If you're trying to do an A/B test for the 7-day option versus the 1-day, we really recommend using the same bid for both test and control ad sets.
Great. This is an interesting question. Do we have data on how many people complete the purchase on mobile from Instagram campaigns?
Yeah, the public stat that we have out is that about 60%, we see about 60% of Instagram users converting on desktop, and we're able to connect those via the Facebook Pixel. We don't have specific data on mobile. If you could infer, it would probably be about 40%, given 60% convert on desktop, but that's the only published stat we have right now.
And in that context, will the Facebook pixel track someone that went to their desktop and purchased a product? I assume this question means purchase a product after seeing or acting on an Instagram ad.
Yeah, that's actually one of the biggest benefits of being able to tie into Facebook's infrastructures, that we're able to use the Facebook pixel and track activity across mobile and desktop and be able to fully understand how your Instagram ad impacted that.
This is a question about hashtags. Do they have any effect on advertising or performance on Instagram?
Yeah, so hashtag targeting is a topic that comes up a lot. So we can view hashtag targeting as a driver to increase overall likes and interest targeting on the Facebook ecosystem. So we've done a lot of work over the last 6 months incorporating our likes and interest signals into Facebook's likes and interest targeting to increase, increase their conversions. So we kind of see it as a holistic understanding. We don't want to create too nuanced of a target or likes and interest targeting, so we will always kind of fold into the current infrastructure that Facebook has.
Another question about some of the great products that Facebook has already rolled out. Will Instagram at any point add lead ads as a product?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that's actually currently on our H2 roadmap to be building. The engineers are currently hard at work. So it's something we'll probably be testing in the next couple of months and hopefully being able to roll out by Q4. Again, we don't have a firm timeline as product development always has, ebbs and flows, but we're hoping to launch in H2.
And in that context, any idea when dynamic ads for travel will be available through a Power Editor or Ads Manager? Because currently it's only through the API.
Yep. So right now, currently, Facebook has only launched it in the API, so that applies to Instagram as well. I know that work is being done to include that in Power Editor as well. There's currently no timeline for Ads Manager, and that's something we don't offer for dynamic ads for product as well. But Power Editor is something we're focusing on, and probably sometime in the next in H2.
Okay. I'm looking at the list. Oh, it seems like the links in the handout are not working. We tested this beforehand, and it looked like they were. We will address this and send out an email to all of you afterwards with the handout that has working links. We apologize for this, and we'll make sure you get those links. And that's it for today's webinar, I think. Please take a few moments to fill out our short survey as you leave. And additionally, take advantage of the training resources and the webinars on the Blueprint portal. And finally, thanks so much for the time today, and have a great time.